Hello, and I'm going to be telling the story of Romeo and Juliet. So, if you don't know the story, allow me to help you. So, we start off with the city in Valmia. It's set in Italy, so if you don't know where that is, just look on the map and all that, it's fine. And we have two families. We have the Capulets and the Montagues. And they have a long feud. Like, they hate each other a lot. Hate. So at the beginning of the play, they start with a fight. Like, the Montague family, and no, the Montague servants and the Capulet servants are fighting at the moment. Benvolio, he is a Montague family member, and he tries to break up the fight, but a guy named Tybalt, he's another member of the Capulet family, starts fighting him, and they have a fight and fight until the prince comes along and he tells the heads of the Montagues and the Capulets that if this happens again, death will be upon you. The Montagues and Lady Montague ask Benvolio, where is our son Romeo? Benvolio replies and tells them that he's all by himself, moping or just sad. Benvolio ends up catching up to Romeo and he asks him, why are you upset? Romeo replies and says he's lovesick. He's another girl named Rosalind, but she don't love him back, and she's a Capulet, which kind of sucks because he's a Montague and she's a Capulet, so it can't work. So Benvolio tells him that it'll all get better. You'll find someone better soon. Pass on. We go to a guy named Paris, and Paris wants to marry the Capulet's daughter, Juliet. He wants to marry her, and Juliet, let's just say she's not really interested in Paris at the moment, but she agrees, like, okay, I'll go with him. But the only reason why she will go with him is because Paris is setting up a party. Only the Capulets can only come. So he sets up a party so he can meet up with Juliet. Juliet agrees, and Paris ends up giving letters to all Capulets, but not only Capulets. One guy goes up to Romeo and Benvolio and asks them to read his notes because he can't read. Romeo and Benvolio read the note and see, oh, it's a Capulet invitation, and Rosalind's going to be in there. So because of that, Romeo and Benvolio, they put on a mask and go to the party. Romeo is trying to find Rosalind, and then all of a sudden, he finds Juliet. Let's just say that he forgets all about Rosalind and looks into Juliet and is like, wow, she is beautiful. But suddenly, Tybalt, he recognizes Romeo. He recognizes his voice. He immediately wants to attack Romeo, but the Capulet says no, because he cannot risk ruining this party again. Well, not party again, but just ruining this party for Juliet. Romeo and Juliet start talking, get to know each other a lot. He ends up kissing her as well. And at the end, Romeo leaves. He finds Mercutio and Benvolio, and they tell Romeo that Tybalt wants to challenge him to a battle. Romeo refuses because he don't want to fight no one. He's a lover, not a fighter. And then Lady Macbeth, Lady Capulet's servant, well, Juliet's servant, goes up to Romeo, and she tells him that Juliet's calling for you. So Romeo goes off, leaves his friends, and then he hears Juliet saying his name. Oh, Romeo, you know that classic thing. All of a sudden, Romeo finds out that Juliet actually likes him. I know. So Romeo is now in love with Juliet. He tells her that I'm in love with you too. At the end, Romeo goes up to his priest and tells him that I want to marry Juliet. So he goes up, he's like, okay, can we please marry Juliet? He says, okay, fine, I'll do it. And the reason why he says I'll do it is because if this works, even though she's a Capulet as well and he's a Montague, if they end up being together, they knew it won't work, but if they do end up together, it can probably end this war for good. So they tried it, and guess what? They got married in the priest's, basically like his little hut. It's called a hut, like his little house. They got married. On his way back, Romeo's walking, chilling, all that, and then Tybalt appeared, and he wanted to fight Romeo. He had his sword out, drawn his sword, and was ready to fight Romeo. Romeo said no because he loves Juliet, and he knows that Tybalt is Juliet's cousin, so he refused. So, what happened? Mercutio decided to fight Tybalt for him. So they started fighting. Romeo tried so much to break up the fight, but wasn't able to break up the fight. So what happened? Tybalt ended up killing Mercutio, and he ran off. Romeo was filled with rage. He was like, how could you kill one of my best friends? So Romeo chased after Tybalt, grabbed his sword, started fighting Tybalt, and ended up killing Tybalt, Juliet's cousin. He was in shock. He was like, what have I done? I've killed my love's cousin. The prince then appeared. Benvolio ended up telling the story of what happened, and at the end, the prince banished Romeo from their city. Now, I got more to tell you, but you're gonna wait for part 2. This is part 1, but I'll give you part 2.
Few moments later.
Okay, this is part 2 of Romeo and Juliet. Previously, Romeo killed Tybalt because Tybalt killed his best friend Mercutio, and the prince ends up banishing Romeo because of crime. He killed someone. So, as soon as he was banished, the nurse, Juliet's nurse, that's basically her close servant, told Juliet that yes, Romeo has been banished because he has killed Tybalt. Yeah, it's very sad. Juliet is mad, furious in fact that Romeo killed Tybalt, but then she then sides with Romeo because she knows that there's more to the story and that he didn't just kill Tybalt for no reason. So she tells the nurse that tell Romeo to come meet me in my room later this night. Romeo is now with Friar Lawrence. He tells him, Friar Lawrence is basically the nun who helped Romeo and Juliet get married. So he's with him. Romeo's upset. He's like, oh, I want to kill myself because I'm no longer with Juliet. The nun comes in. She tells Romeo that Juliet wants to see you tonight in her room. So Romeo agrees. Friar Lawrence also tells Romeo that next morning go to Mantua. It's basically another place. He says go to Mantua until I tell you to come back because right now you're not safe because you're supposed to be banished. So he does that. He ends up meeting Juliet in her room. He tells her that they start fighting over the dawn or whatever. How they're basically like, you're beautiful now, you're beautiful, and all that classic love couple stuff. Can't relate. I'm joking. And yeah, Romeo leaves the room and all that. Well, they're still talking, but then Romeo leaves. Downstairs, I believe it's downstairs, the Capulets tell Paris that yes, you can marry our daughter, Juliet. And they plan the wedding for 3 days. So there's going to be a wedding in 3 days' time. Yeah. So Lady Capulet, next morning, Romeo's off to Mantua, and then Lady Capulet goes up to Juliet. Yeah, Lady Capulet goes up to Juliet. She tells her that, yeah, we want you to marry Paris, but she refuses. But that's when Capulet, Lord Capulet, comes in and says that I will disown you, Juliet, if you don't marry Paris. Yeah, he's furious. That's when Juliet goes up to Friar Lawrence. She tells him that I will kill myself because I'm with Paris and I'm going to be with Romeo. Very sad. So what he does, he gets her a drug, or he gives her a drug. Now the drug, basically, let's just say it can make her seem like she's dead, but she's not dead. It'll make her seem dead. Like she'll be cold, dead, pulse gone, all that, but she won't be dead. It will only last for 24 hours, which is good. So his plan is to agree to marry Paris on basically later on in the night time to take the drug. That way, in the next morning, when everyone sees her, she's gonna look presumed dead, but she won't be dead. So as the family members, they'll put her in the family tomb, and that's when Romeo and Juliet can run away together. So Juliet, she agrees and she takes the drug, and then she tells, she tells Capulet, her father, basically that yes, I will marry Paris. He's so happy that, oh yes, that's my daughter. Because of that, you two are gonna get married, more or less, the next day. So they do that. They say goodnight. Paris is happy, by the way. He's like, oh yes, I'm about to get this girl. Before they all go to bed, Juliet takes the drug. Well, she thinks about it first. She's like, should I really take this drug? Yeah, I want to be a Romeo. Yeah, she takes the drug. And next morning, they wake up. Everyone's like, why is she not breathing? Juliet, you awake? Yeah, she's dead. As we know, she's not dead, but they think that, oh no, she's dead. So they're very upset. Whereas Friar Lawrence is like, oh no, she's in a better place now. Wink, wink. So they take her to the family tomb. Back in Mantua, Romeo's close servant goes up to him and tells him the news, saying that Juliet's dead. Romeo's like, I want to kill myself, and lie right next to her. So he leaves Mantua and heads to Juliet's. And then here's the bad news. Friar Lawrence was supposed to write a note to tell Romeo that she's not dead. It's just to trick the other family members to think that she is dead, so you two can run away. However, Friar John, that's his name. That's another nonce. He was supposed to give the note to Romeo. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to because everyone, let's just say, people thought he had a plague and he was isolated, sadly. Kind of relates to COVID, I'm joking. But it relates to that more or less. So he was isolated, so he couldn't give the note to Romeo, unfortunately. So that's when Friar Lawrence decided, like, oh no, if Romeo thinks that she's dead, it's gonna make Juliet very, very upset, very mad. Romeo, I'm not sure what he will do if he finds out that Juliet is actually dead. He'll probably kill himself too. And that's part 2. Part 3 is the final one. I'm going to tell you the full story. Well, I'm telling you the full story, but I'm telling you the final part of Romeo and Juliet. So, part 3 next.